Hi everyone, I'm Sandy and this is my channel Sandy's Happy Plants. I make videos all about houseplants and houseplant care. And today I'm going to show you how to make a quick and easy 10-minute moss pole. Let's get into it. Okay, so what you'll need for this is some generic plastic or metal garden fencing, and I have this black plastic stuff that I bought a while ago, but it's up to you. It also comes in white, and it comes in green, and it comes in metal as well. I just happen to have this, so I'm just gonna use this. And you'll also need a stick of some sort. I'm using just an orchid stick. You can use those bamboo grilling skewers that you can get. Any kind of stick will work, and so just make sure it's the length of the moss pole that you want to make. So that's what you'll need, and you'll need some doweling, and I already pre-cut this. You just need a little piece, not too long, because you wanna put it in the pot and not sticking out of the pot. So basically this will just be the bottom of the pole. I'm putting it into kind of like a shorter pot, so I don't need that much, so I just cut a little bit for now. And you also need some scissors, and you'll need some larger zip ties, and you'll need some small little zip ties. And of course you will need some sphagnum moss, and here it is. And this kind is really good. It's a New Zealand sphagnum moss, and it's all natural, and it's real true sphagnum moss, and it's also harvested using sustainable methods. So it's a really good kind, and I'll try to link it. I'm not sure if I have this, if I can get this in my store, but if I can't, I'll link something similar to that. And if you want to buy that, you can click on that in the below the video. Anyways, and so that's all you need. So to start, you want to pre-moisten your sphagnum moss, and I have already done this here. It takes a while to hydrate because it is dehydrated in the package. So I have already rehydrated it, and you can just use water. But what I like to do is I like to use water and liquidirt. This is liquidirt, and it's an awesome fertilizer. It's organic, it's all natural, it's chemical free, and it's totally safe for pets and humans. It's even safe for fish and reptiles, so it's really great stuff. So I kind of used a mix of liquidirt and water to pre-moisten the sphagnum moss, and it's just so that when the roots start growing into the moss, it kind of gives it a little bit more kick. It helps the plant grow a little bit better, so that's why I use this. And I'll try to link that below my my video as well if you want to buy it. I don't get paid for saying this. I really love this stuff. I use it for almost all my plants. It's great fertilizer. So while the moss is hydrating, you want to cut your piece of plastic or metal fencing to size. So just kind of see how much you'll need, and basically just cut it to size. So you want to kind of see how it looks like by making a little round like this, and see how big, how thick you want the pole to be. So I want mine to be about this, like not too thick because it's going to go into a small pot. So I'm just going to cut it about here. Let's see. And you just want to cut it along the seam here. It doesn't have to be too pretty because it doesn't matter once you put it together. And my pole is not going to be too long, so this looks like almost, maybe a little bit more. And that looks about right there. And then just cut this piece off. Oops, oh, I cut a little bit too much. That's all right. I'll cut it even. It doesn't matter if it's exact. Okay. So that's what you're left with. I don't know if you can see that. It's just a piece of plastic like this, and you can make it into a round shape like this, and that's what we're going to put the moss in here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the stick to the little dowel, and I'm just gonna zip tie it on. So just take one of your larger zip ties, and I'm using black zip ties because my fencing is black. If you're using white or green, you can just use the cording color. Same with if you're using metal, you can just choose the color that works best for you. I wish I had green because it looks a little bit nicer than black, but I only had black, so it's okay. Okay, so then you just zip tie that on, kind of in the middle. You won't see this part because this will be in the pot. So just zip tie that on really tight so that it's sturdy. There you go. And I'm going to use another one as well on the bottom here, just to make it extra sturdy. There we go. And then what you want to do is cut off the ends. I'm just going to straighten it out a little bit here. Okay. Okay, cut off the ends. And then you have your base for your pole. Okay, so now we need to attach the plastic to this pole contraption. So what I do is I just kind of lay it in here. And you know, it's not a science, it's just basically like however it works. Just make sure it's straight. See, this stick is a little crooked, so just kind of make sure it's straight. And then I'm just gonna put it just so that it's sturdy, not too much. So maybe like this. So I don't know if you can see that. So just like that. So just attach it to the bottom or the top rather of this of the dowel. So I'm going to use some more big zip ties for that, and you want to kind of feed the zip tie through the plastic mesh. So I'm just feeding it through one of these here, and I'll show you closer in a second. And then I'm just gonna feed it through again, and I'm not gonna do the whole piece. I'm gonna actually keep it open. See if you see that. I'm gonna keep it open so that I can fill it with moss. And so basically it just looks like this. You're just kind of attaching it to this, to the doweling. And you just want to make sure it's straight. So I'm just gonna fiddle around with this until it's straight. Okay, and then just cut off the end as well. All right, now we're ready to fill it with moss. Okay, so all you do is grab some moss, and I wrung this out already, so it's not totally sopping wet anymore. And I'm doing it on top of a lid here so that I don't get it all over my table, because it does kind of get all over the place. So basically just lay it in here. Super easy, and don't be too shy. You can use lots. If you put too much, just take some out again. But it kind of compresses once you close the wire or the fencing, so you can put a bunch in there. So yeah, so just put it all in here. Get some on the bottom, kind of around where the pole is, or the dowel. And you can kind of see that I left, I didn't put the stick all the way to the end of the mesh, because one day I might want to add on to the moss pole, so I left it kind of open here so that I can stick another dowel into it, or another pole into it later on. Okay, so just put some moss in here, and let's see if we can close it. If you can't close it, then you just take some out. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good, actually. Make sure it's even. It doesn't have to be exact. Make sure it looks good. Looks good to you. There, that looks about good, I would say. Doesn't have to be too compacted, because the roots want to grow into it. So for epiphytes, like Monsteras and Philodendrons and that kind of those kind of plants, they grow their aerial roots, or their epiphytic, I think it's called, roots into the moss, and that's how they climb up the pole. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. So now let's close it. Okay, so take one of your little zip ties, and I like to start in the middle, just so it's just kind of easier to do it evenly if you start in the middle. And you want to make sure that all the little squares line up, otherwise it'll be crooked. And I mean, it's not the end of the world if it gets crooked, but it's just better to have it nice looking. So just make sure they line up, and then just kind of fold one side under and stick your little zip tie through both edges of the ends of the plastic, and then just pull it shut. There we go, that's all there is to it. So that's the first one done. That's what that looks like. And then you just want to keep going until you have it all sewn shut, so to speak. And I usually do it like this, where I'll do the middle here first, just so it's all even. That way you can kind of, it's harder to screw up this way, because you can kind of keep track of all the squares. Okay, another one. And I'll do this one over here. Just making sure it's lined up. It's kind of a pain in the butt if it doesn't line up, because then you have to redo it. So I'm just kind of making sure. Okay, it looks pretty good. And you just repeat that for all or most of the little sections. Okay, so now that you have all the zip ties on, you just want to go ahead and cut off all the extra ends. Okay, that's what you're left with, and I just did it quickly. Like I said, this is just like a quick moss pole. If you're in a pinch and you quickly need a moss pole, this is a quick and fast way to do it. Now you just want to wrap an extra big zip tie around the bottom here to just kind of stabilize it a little bit. So just go ahead and do that, and I just kind of just put it around the bottom just to give it a little bit more stability, and to just kind of close off the bottom. And then just cut that off, and that's all there is to it. Okay, so this is what it looks like when it's done. And I made another video of how to make a different kind of moss pole, a little bit of a better looking one, because these I find are not that aesthetically pleasing to me. They work really well and your plants love them, but I just don't really like the way they look. But if you have a really full plant on it, you can't really see it, so it doesn't really matter, I guess. So it just depends what kind of plant you put on it, how full the plant is, and how full it's gonna grow, I guess, once it grows onto it. But yeah, I think that's pretty good. I mean, it's really quick. The video is a little bit longer than 10 minutes, but you can make this easy in 10 minutes. So let's say you're repotting something and you quickly need a moss pole, you can just whip this up quickly, and that's what's so great about it. So yeah, that's it. And I'm gonna put my Epipremnum pinnatum, or what I think is an Epipremnum pinnatum, onto this. I bought it as an Epipremnum pinnatum, and I made a whole nother video about that. You can check back if you want. And the jury's still out if it actually is one or not, but I'm gonna put that on here and see what it does when it grows big. So yeah, I'll show you what that looks like once I put it on there. Okay, so here is my Epipremnum pinnatum, or you know, it was sold to me as Epipremnum pinnatum, and I already took it out of its pot. And I'm gonna put that onto the moss bowl that we just made, and I'm also gonna put this one in with this one on the same moss bowl. And this was also sold as Epipremnum pinnatum, but at a different store. I think this one might be Rhaphidophora decursiva, and I have two more of this. And the other ones actually do look like Rhaphidophora to me now. They're all fenestrating now, whereas this one isn't fenestrating. And somebody, one of my subscribers, actually told me that when they're young, Epipremnum pinnatum actually does not fenestrate, so it doesn't get any holes, and this one isn't doing that, so maybe this is actually Epipremnum. I guess we'll see once they get bigger. So I'm just gonna put both of these on there, and I guess we'll see what happens when they get bigger. So let's do it. Okay, so I have already kind of pre-moistened a pot with potting mix, and I've kind of put the pole in here. So you can't really see right now, but I'll show you once I stick the plants in there. And I hope this will be sturdy enough. It kind of looks like it's gonna fall over now, but once I put it into the over pot, I'll see. I might have to lean it up against the wall or something. But so I'm putting it kind of towards the edge of the pole, the edge of the pot, so that I can put the plants in here, and then they can grow up the side of the pole here. So, all right. I'm gonna start with the true quote-unquote Epipremnum, and when you do this, you want to make sure that the aerial roots are facing the pole so that they can grow into it. So I'm just gonna bury it into there, so I'll see you in a sec. Okay, so I'm getting them in here. It's actually quite a bit sturdier than I thought it was gonna be. It's kind of standing up on its own now, so that's good. And it's on this tipply lid, so once it's in the over pot, it'll probably be good. Just filling all the spots in with potting mix. And this is one of my well-draining potting mixes that I made, and I also made a video about that, so you can check back a couple videos to find that as well. I might link it in the video on top here. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I think that's in there pretty good. So now I'm gonna just situate it so that it's touching the pole. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good actually. It's surprisingly sturdy, it's not falling over, so I think that works. I didn't tie them on yet, so I'm gonna just use a little bit of string and kind of attach them to the moss pole. I gave them a little bit of a drink, and I gave them a little bit of a wash. So yeah, so that worked out pretty good. Okay, so I'm just gonna take a little bit of string out of my handy little, cute little string jar, and I'm just gonna tie them on lightly. I'm gonna double it up so it's not so sharp on the stem. And I'm just gonna tie it on very, very lightly. I'll tie it to the back, and just so it doesn't move around. And once they grow into it, once the roots grow into it, then you can remove the string because they won't need it anymore. It's just when you're training them at first, you kind of need to train them to grow up on this. Because if they haven't been on a pole, their tendency is to grow down. Like you see, there's another piece here, and I'll show you in a second once I attach this one. Yeah, if they don't have a moss pole, they kind of tend to trail. That's just like Pothos and Scindapsus and Philodendrons. All those plants are kind of like that as well. So you can see there's a little bit of a I don't know if you can see that. I don't want to lift it out too much, but there's a new caterpillar coming right there as well, and that kind of wants to move down. It's right in here. That's why it's kind of not sticking out of the pot, because it's moving down. But once it gets a little longer, it's right there. It's hiding right there. Once it gets a little longer, I'll train it up onto the pole as well. Sorry, that's probably really loud for you guys. Okay, this one is doing pretty good. So I'm gonna, I'll attach it here maybe. Yeah, just so it's out of the way of the other one. And you don't want to tie it too tight because you want them to be able to grow. So just kind of tie it loosely so you can still kind of stick your finger kind of in it a little bit, so the stem has room to get bigger. Okay, so this is what it looks like now that it's done. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you never miss an episode. And if you have anything to add or any questions, or if you'd like me to talk about a specific topic, leave it in the comments below. In the meantime, enjoy your plants, stay happy, stay healthy. See you next time. Bye!